Friends, hello, thank you so much for being here. Let's talk about SoFi. All right, sorry, I'm on my second cup of coffee here, so a little intense, I know. SoFi. So if you saw the thumbnail, it said, hey, you shouldn't be buying SoFi right now. And I get why you're wondering why I said that. You know, what we're seeing right now with SoFi, it's the little engine that's trying, but it just can't right now. And, you know, I made a video on the last quarterly here with SoFi, and I pretty much said, hey, I know we just had good quarterlies here, which I'm going to talk about, but I think we're still going to take damage in SoFi, and that's what we're seeing. And when I made that video, I remember people were ripping me apart in the comments, like, you're a moron, you're an idiot, we're going to be $20 by April, this thing is about to fly to the moon. And we're not seeing that. And we're not seeing that because, you know, if you were looking at what was going to happen in the market, it's happening. And SoFi is unable to really climb right now because of particular reasons. So let's dig into why SoFi is not climbing. But I will say this. Here's what I will say. This is not a video to put SoFi investors down, beat down SoFi, because I love SoFi. I've started heavily investing in SoFi, but there's something that you should know if you are investing in SoFi right now. SoFi is going to more than likely continue to take damage here because you have two groups of investors right now wrapped in SoFi, and it's pretty obvious what's going on here. You know, you have the long-term investor who's like, you know what, SoFi is doing this. A, it's bringing out great quarterlies. B, next year they're going to be even farther into their cash advantage and debt ratio to where they're at right now, paying it off. And obviously, you know, is SoFi a banker? Is it a bank, or is it an AI company, or is it both? And that's the whole other argument. But what we know too with that third is that SoFi is growing really fast, and SoFi is not growing fast in a bad way. It's growing fast in a good way because it's growing into the future. It's growing into the younger generation, the newer generation, where particularly what you're seeing with SoFi is they're really honing in on college students. They're really honing, and obviously, you know, their college loan program. But those kids in, you know, just kids in general and young people are really, they're getting credit cards with SoFi. They're starting bank accounts, savings accounts, and SoFi is offering really good deals for the younger generation, and those are going to be customers into the next decade. So this is why SoFi is really being looked at for something as a long-term investment, a long play. So you have those set of investors in there, like me, I think like majority of you, that, you know, we're like, okay, if SoFi continues to take damage here, I'm just going to use this as opportunity to buy more, because we know SoFi should continue these good quarterlies. It should continue growth with, you know, with customers, with money, with, you know, paying off debt, cash on hand, all these kind of things, and just growth overall as a company. Okay, great, good. Then you have this other set of investor who is, you know, they're like, I don't know. I just don't know that I can hold on to SoFi right now. You know, I've been in it for a few months, but it's just not offering me much. And this is what we're seeing right now in SoFi. SoFi is having just, you know, investors that are just unsure of it right now. And, you know, there's this whole thing, you know, that SoFi is going to be pushed. It's going to have a squeeze on it. Well, I mean, anything like that's possible. I don't think it's ever safe to say there's not going to be a squeeze in something, but particularly what kind of squeeze are we talking about? Are we talking from 7 to 10? More than likely, we'll see a high push up when we get to our next quarterly here, because SoFi missed their third quarterly last year, but everyone else, all the other ones they've beat, and we expect them to continue to do this next quarterly, the first quarterly of 2024, to be met as well. So, you know, talking about SoFi in projections with where they're going to go, it is falling apart right now. We're seeing it's back down to $7. It's not where a lot of people thought it was going to be. I mean, let's just be honest. You know, a month, 2 months ago, people were saying this was going to be a $15, $20 stock by now. But this is why I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to be totally honest with you. This is why I stopped talking about SoFi, because when I was talking about SoFi, the videos weren't going anywhere, and I was pretty much just being very bearish on it for the short term, but the long term, very bullish. And I guess what you're wanting me to say here is, why am I so bearish on it for the short term? It's because I don't trust the market right now. I don't trust what's coming. We're already seeing huge dips in April here, and we don't know what April is going to continue to bring. In 2-3 weeks here, we're having the Bitcoin halving. So more than likely, most investors, especially just your short play, gang, they're going to be looking at crypto. They're not going to be caring about stocks, and people are going to be trying to sell out, put their money somewhere else, and get their money out of things. You have that, but then you also have, our rates going to continue to go up? What's inflation going to continue to do? Not good things. Where are we headed with our economy? And these are things that are not getting better right now. And a lot of people are unsure of where the market is going. So what's the first institution to take a hit from that? Well, it's obviously the banks, obviously the market, but the banks in general as a company will always get hit first. So this is the dilemma right now with SoFi. If you're a short-term investor, you're like, great, I hope SoFi bleeds to $5. I'll even take $4, because I know the longevity of what this stock is going to do, especially when we get into a bull run later in this year or even next year, more than likely, SoFi is going to do amazing. We're going to see crazy numbers with SoFi, because we know that when there's a bull run, more than likely, and this is what economists are already saying, that these low cap stocks, these low stocks right now like this, are going to explode. They're going to explode. And this is a trend that I am personally noticing in the stock market right now. I'm noticing there's companies out here that are doing what they're supposed to do for a stock that is, something that you want to put your money in long term. They're meeting quarterlies. They're projected to have, be debt free within X amount of time. They're capturing new deals, customers, the growth. But we're not seeing them grow. There's many companies like that right now, and they're under $10. Like these stocks are under $10. Some of them are under $5. I've talked about them, but they're continuing to take damage, or they've hit a stalemate. We're in this weird flux right now with the market, where long-term investors are kind of set in, like they're where they're going to be. And when I say long-term investors, I'm not talking about like 6 months. I'm talking like 5 to 10 years, where people who are buying SoFi are like, this is going into my retirement, or, when it really just matures into something, I'm going to sell half of it or all of it. But then you just have these people, and I was one of these people, I'm going to be honest, I was one of these investors in SoFi, 2 months ago, where I was actually in SoFi, and I sold out of SoFi, thank God, for more than what it is now, because I was just like, I think it's going to continue to take damage. I don't trust the market, and I definitely don't trust the news, who has never have anything good to say about where we're headed with our economy. The real news, don't even get me started. But saying that, this is why I think short term SoFi potentially could take more damage, but long term SoFi is going to make people very happy. This company is not going anywhere. When I look at SoFi, I look at the future. I look at what banking is, what banking can be, and there's other companies that I think there's other institutions bank-wise that will start to take damage probably into the future, because there's something you're seeing in them that will bleed them as a company. They're not growing with the new generation. I look at Wells Fargo. When I look at Wells Fargo is more of like, they even advertise themselves as more of like a mature bank, and I like Wells Fargo. Like I'm not trying to say anything bad, but I'm just saying this is kind of the difference right now. Their advertising is like, to the older customer, the retiree, or the middle-aged millennial. In SoFi is completely different. They're about technology, what's to come, and all this, and that's really what's capturing a lot of younger generation's attention right now. And that's where I go like, okay, well, if I can put my money in this, I know that this is going to continue to grow. So this is kind of where I'm at with SoFi. People comment all the time and ask me, why don't I talk about SoFi anymore? Where am I at with SoFi? I am back in SoFi. I'm buying SoFi. I'm continuing. Every drop, I buy more. But I do think, I'm just going to say, I would not be shocked to see SoFi go back down to a $6.50, even to a $5 range, if we start to get in more trouble here in the market. I really, honest to God, believe that. Now, obviously, I know that's not what a lot of you want to hear. I know a lot of you want to hear this is going to go to $15 to $20 because this was what I was hearing so much when I was talking about this on like a weekly basis. But it's not SoFi that I'm blaming. I trust SoFi. I believe in SoFi. It's the market and it's the investor in it. That's where I'm really, where I have my doubts in SoFi. I think the long-term investors here, and you see the pattern that, the what could be here with SoFi. It's just, it's not getting enough support, but I do think there will be a day where it just pops. It's looking for the $8, but it's not. I don't think it's going to hit it and keep it. I just don't. We've seen this 7 so much, and this high 6 to high 7 is where we're seeing the playground mostly with SoFi, which is not terrible because last year we were not at this. So friends, this is kind of just what I'm seeing here with SoFi. And like I said, please understand, I'm not trying to say anything negative against SoFi, because I think people hear this and they go like, you're just being bearish on SoFi. Why would you even make this video? I love SoFi. I'm putting money into it. I trust it, but I think people need to hear that this is going to take some time, and this whole year is going to be very deadly for SoFi because it's going to scare off a lot of investors. We don't know what's coming, and this is an election year, and there's a lot of other things coming up that are going to get investors' attention, and it's probably not going to be a bank stock right now or AI stock, whatever you want to say. I'm not even starting that argument. I'm not even going there, but that's really how I see this right now. So if SoFi stays at this $7 to $8 mark, I'm peachy. I'm happy. It can stay there for the next 3 months. I don't care. If we can close out the year at a $10, $11, $12 mark, I've won, man. Most of us have won at that point if you're buying in right now. And then next year, that's a different conversation. So this is how I feel about SoFi. I will continue to talk about them. And this is why I've stopped talking about them. I was like, every time I make a video about them, I get ripped apart. And not that comments phase me, but it's just like, well, what's the point? No one's really understanding what I'm trying to say here. So I hope I said that well enough to where people are really seeing this. And I don't want to scare you off in SoFi. I think you need to watch SoFi. You need to really think about it and look at it. I think this is a stock for the future. I look at SoFi as like a little bit of an AI company because of their technology and what they do as an overall institution of a bank and all of that. And obviously, I'm not trying to go over what they are as a company. I think you can generally look that up. But I bank with SoFi. I like SoFi. I think they're fabulous. I mean, they're killing it. There's no other bank like them right now. I mean, they're just doing crazy things. So friends, that is what I have to say about SoFi. It's like sweating bullets here. I just want to put that out there. I literally get a comment, but I get comments after comments every week about SoFi. This is where I'm at with it. I'm investing in it, but it's going to be a long play in SoFi here, I think. Friends, I wish you all the well. Thursday, tomorrow is Friday, last day in the market, and I'm excited to see how this week ends. Friends, take care. Bye-bye.